Fine. This is the first day of the weekend Selenium training batch at qdbselenium.com. Okay. I'll brief you about the syllabus first, what we will be doing, what Selenium is all about, and we will then move over to the programming language and Selenium, right? So let's start with the first thing, that is some of the frequently asked questions about Selenium. Okay, some of the questions which most of the people have in the beginning of the course. Okay, the first and the foremost question is, what is Selenium? Okay, obviously many of you must be knowing it's an automation testing tool, and the most important thing is that it works only on browsers. Okay, it's only for web-based applications. If you want to automate your desktop based applications, then Selenium is not the right tool for it. If you open up Google and just type download Selenium, then this is the official site. This is the official Selenium site, okay, and seleniumhq.org. The first line of this site says Selenium automates browsers. That's it. Okay, it's a tool for browser-based automation. Okay, so automation is the future of software testing. Everybody knows that. Over a period of time, the need for automation testing is growing, right? The automation testing, like when I started working 6 years back, 7 years back, not much was done on automation testing, but these days there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of automation tools coming up for web-based applications, desktop-based, mobile-based automation is also the next field coming up. Okay, Robotium is the tool which is there for Android, right? So Selenium is some tool which automates web-based applications. Now, do you have to learn programming for doing this tool? Well, just a minute. The question should be Webdriver. Okay. So the thing is, do I have to learn the programming language? This is the first question which most of the people ask me. To answer this question, I will first answer this question, that what is Selenium RC, Webdriver, IDE and grid. Okay, now if you look at the history of Selenium, how it evolved over a period of time. Selenium in the beginning, something known as three tools came up when Selenium was introduced in the market for the first time. Okay, 3 tools came up. First one was RC, second was known as IDE, and third one was known as grid. Okay, now IDE is a record run tool. Okay, recorded run feature is present in every automation tool. Okay, and in Selenium it was present in IDE. Okay, IDE it's a very strong tool. It's a very good tool, but the problem is it only works in Mozilla. The tool only works in Mozilla and in no other browser. Okay, that's the major limitation of IDE. So what they used to do, ThoughtWorks. Okay, ThoughtWorks is the company which is responsible for developing Selenium and components in Selenium, right? It's a company which made IDE, RC, grid, and all everything. Okay, now it came up with RC. Okay, RC could test the application in multiple browsers, Mozilla, then on IE, Opera, Chrome, Safari. Okay, so this RC had the you can say had the power to test the web-based application in multiple browsers. Okay, now this RC has a lot of drawbacks in it. right? There were some features which should be a part of automation testing tool. For example, I go to a web page and I need to print the names of all the links on the page. Okay, or simply saying I want to extract all the links from a web page. A normal automation testing tool can execute this very easily. But in RC there was no command to print the names of links present on any web page. Okay, or there was no way out. There was a way out, but it's not a simple way out. It's quite complex through JavaScript, right? So what these guys did, people from various companies, they started pulling together. From Google also they started pulling together, and somehow some people they got together and made something known as Selenium Webdriver. So Webdriver is the latest tool. It is also known as Selenium 2.0. RC is known as Selenium 1.0. Okay. Now the difference between Webdriver and RC, right? Well, these two tools, they are under the same umbrella of Selenium, right? But practically, these two are completely different tools. The API is completely different. The library for both the tools is completely different. Okay, you can say that people who have worked on Selenium RC for 5 years, after working on RC for 5 years, if they try to look at Webdriver, they are not at all able to understand it. Okay, so from the interview point of perspective, if you are learning this tool to clear an interview, then obviously the interviewer will expect you to learn Webdriver as well as RC, right? If you want to implement Selenium in your project and you have an option of choosing between RC and Webdriver, I would suggest choose Webdriver. It's much more simple and it's much more powerful than RC, right? Similarly, in the earlier version we had something known as grep 1.0. Grep is something which helps you to execute your tests among multiple machines. Okay, that is, you can make one machine as a hub, connect multiple machines to it, and suppose you have got 10,000 test cases to execute. So you can distribute 2,000 test cases per machine. Each of these machines is controlled by a central hub, and the hub will execute the test and all everything. Okay, so this is basically what Selenium Grid does. Fine. Now Grid 1.0 used to work with Selenium RC. Now we have something known as Grid 2.0. Hold on, I'll just keep everybody on mute. I'll again remind everybody that each and every one of you is on mute. If anybody is having any questions, he can move his mouse on the top of the screen, click on the participants tab, and click on the red mark against the name and unmute himself and speak out. Alright, so you can unmute yourself and speak in case you have any questions. Fine. So Grid, we understood Grid 1.0 works with Selenium RC, has got multiple nodes connected to one hub. Same thing is there in along with Webdriver. We have like something like Grid 2 in the market now. Okay, we have something like Grid 2. It's better than Grid 1. Okay, how exactly both of them are different? If I try to make you understand, you'll actually get quite confused, right? So I'll just for time being accept it. There was Grid 1, there's Grid 2, there was RC, now there's Webdriver. IDE remains the same. Okay. Now Webdriver also works on multiple browsers: Mozilla, Chrome, IE, Safari. These 4 browsers are officially supported. Opera is also supported to till some extent. Some features they don't work on Opera, right? I have tried it. but some of the features are not working. Okay, officially Mozilla, IE, Chrome, and Safari are there. All right. So now these all are the components of Selenium. Okay, as you are seeing that it's not a simple tool. It's quite vast. It's quite vast. I also agree. Okay. Now this is about the difference about among the various components in Selenium. This is the question which I frequently face. Okay. Then after that, one of the important questions which I frequently face is that I have answered this one, I have answered this one, I'm going to answer this one. Okay. What is JUnit test ng and ant? Along with it, I am also asked a question called as Maven. Okay. Now, if you are working with Selenium, okay, Selenium is a tool which will interact with the browser. Fine. If you have a browser, then Selenium will interact with the browser. Fine. But as a tester, when you automate your application, okay, you will be making number of scripts. Each script will denote a test case. Right? So you make scripts like script 1, script 2, script 3, till script number nth script, script n. Now you need these scripts to execute in a certain order, right? These scripts will hold nothing but they will hold your Selenium code. Okay. Along with it, we always prefer that we should be reading the data from an external source like an Excel file or say an XML file. Why? This is because we keep our scripts separate, we keep our data separate, so that as an automation test engineer, if you have successfully made your scripts, right? If you have successfully made your scripts and you won't have to go inside the scripts and change the data again and again. Fine. Suppose you gave your script to your junior to just execute. That guy has not got any automation testing experience. So he will just modify the Excel file or the XML file, okay, having the data for each and every script. He'll not know how the scripts will run. Everybody can modify Excel file. Everybody knows Excel. So he can just modify the Excel file and give a command to run the complete scenario. Right? And this is how things actually happen in many companies. The manual testers generally they are just given the scripts to execute by modifying the data. That's it. Okay. The maintenance of the scripts and all are generally done by the automation engineers. Right. Now, along with this, you need that when the scripts execute, some reports should be generated, like HTML reports and all everything. Okay. You need those reports to be generated. Along with it, you might want that fine at a particular location my screenshots should be saved. Okay. Then you want that logging should be happening. Some log file should be maintained. Suppose all these 10 scripts they take 20 hours to execute. So you need to know what happened at every second. If a test is failing, where it is failing, why is it failing? While failing, you need to jot everything inside the logs. Right? Along with it, you need to generate the reports. Okay? So work of Selenium is basically under this category. That it will make your scripts run. But reading Excel files, XML files, reading data, parameterizing, generating reports, making logs, right? Taking screenshots and basically saving screenshots. Okay, all these steps are maintained and coordinated by a central framework. This is the central framework. This is maybe this can be a JUnit framework. Okay, then there can be a test ng framework. Then in some companies fitness is also used. Okay, so there are various frameworks available in the market. Okay, these frameworks, they'll read the data, they'll run the corresponding test script, pass over the data towards it, they'll retrieve the information that whether it is passing or failing, they will retrieve the information where the screenshots are generated, they will do the logging, they will store the screenshots, and these frameworks will do the reporting. Okay, so JUnit, TestNG, Fitness and all, these are used to coordinate your scripts, generate reports and all, everything. Okay, I just gave you an overview, right? We will see in the course how this runs. Okay, so I'm just answering your frequently asked questions. We'll start with the course very soon, okay, in another 15-20 minutes, right? Again, what is Ant and Maven? I'll not tell you what Maven is right now because that will confuse you, okay? But Ant is something which helps you to run the complete framework which I discussed right now, the complete scenario, through the command prompt. Okay, if you have to execute your Java program or Selenium framework code through command prompt, you can use Ant. Why do we use Ant? Because generally the script is run on a Unix based server in many companies. Okay, in Unix you don't have in shell, basically you don't have a very good user interface like we have in Windows. Okay, you have the command prompt like this. You have the shell basically. Out there we use a tool known as Ant to execute the scripts. Okay, limitations and disadvantages of Selenium. Well, basic limitation is that it cannot test desktop based applications. Okay, if you compare it with QTP, which is again there in market, QTP can test desktop based applications, but Selenium cannot test. But 80% of the applications in this world are desktop based, web based, and Selenium can be used for them, right? Another thing, to learn Selenium, you have to be a little bit practical. You have to be a little bit oriented towards programming language. Now I come over to this question: do I have to learn programming? The answer to this is that yes, you have to learn programming. Okay, there is no running away from programming. Okay, whether you pick up any tool, QTP or self-test, right? You take up any automation tool, you will have to learn programming. Okay, now again some people tell me, fine, in Selenium I have to learn more programming, in QTP I have to learn less programming. There is nothing known as more programming or less programming. Okay, a logic is always a logic whether it's implemented in any programming language. Okay, it's nothing like QTP is easy and Selenium is difficult to code or something like that. If you have the knack, you can code in any tool. You have to develop that habit, right? You have to learn that, and I'll answer the last question later on. Okay, so these are the questions about this tool, Selenium. Okay, if you have any other questions regarding this tool, let me know, I'll answer that. Okay, now, yeah, Satish, I have unmute. You are on unmute. You can talk and you can ask your question.
Hi, Ashish. My question is, you said we need to learn programming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and to what extent that means?
To a good extent.
I mean, like. Okay,
I'll not.
Sorry.
To a good extent. Okay, I'll tell you what. Okay, basically, whosoever made Selenium, okay, he made the core of Selenium in JavaScript. Okay, this is the core of Selenium. This is made in JavaScript. Okay, now JavaScript is not a very easy language. Okay, it requires a lot of skill, especially debugging it is quite tough, right? Now what he did, or what the entity did, you can say in layman terms, they actually put a wrapper around it and gave us the power to implement the Selenium tool in any one of the languages like Java, C#, PHP, Ruby, Python, right? So these are the languages, some of the languages in which we can implement or which we can call this JavaScript core. Okay, it might be that the commands in all the languages are different. Okay, but the JavaScript core is same. Alright, so you have to learn any one of these 5-6 programming languages. Okay, and you have to learn it till a good extent. In this course, we will be going about with Java because Java is open source and 70 to 75% of industry is using Selenium with Java. Okay, now Java, till what extent you need to learn Java? That's again a thing. You need to learn core Java. Alright. It's not something which will come along with this course. It's not something which you can learn in 1 month. It takes a time. It's not difficult, but don't also expect that everything should be over in 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month. It's not like that. It will take time. Okay, so be prepared for it, right? Don't hurry up. You will not gain anything by hurrying up and learning this tool. Okay, I am presenting the right picture. Okay, if I tell you that fine, everything will be over in 1 week and you will be able to learn that, it's not like that. It takes time, right? And that's why along with this course, I will be presenting you this thing. If you go to my site qtpselenium.com, what I have done is I have made total 37 training modules in Selenium. Okay, and I have made videos on every training module, right? You will be getting an access to all these videos forever along with this course, right? So that even after the course you are able to refer the videos and you are able to learn from them. Okay, in the course we will be covering Java, we will be covering Webdriver, and we will be covering frameworks. Okay, again a topic comes up, which kind of framework are you covering in the course? Okay, there are many frameworks available in the market called as data driven, then something known as hybrid, and something known as page object model. Okay, I'll cover any one of them, whichever you want. Okay, generally people want to learn this one, page object model. Okay, I can cover it. Right, the videos on these frameworks are also there on my site. Okay, page object model framework I'm putting up, right, in another 5-6 days it will be there, but the data driven and the hybrid frameworks are there in the 19th module or 18th to 21st, right? So along with this course you'll get the access to the videos so that even after the course you are able to revise from them, right? So this is about the course, about the tool. Now we will just start off with the course and see how we will be continuing, and I'll start off with Java language. Okay, now there are some people in this course who have got no language background, or it is like I want to know how many of you have never ever done programming. Is there anybody in the course who has never done programming, who has never been a part of programming, not even C language? I'm not just talking about Java, in any language. Is there anybody? Please let me know. Accordingly, I will go in the course. You can unmute yourself, you can speak, or you can also message me on Skype. Alright. I hope everybody has done little bit of programming. Everybody knows little bit of C or C++, whatever it is, or wherever you studied. Right. So basically, we will be starting off with Java. First of all, Java is a platform independent language, And the first thing which you need to do is that you need to download Java, install it, which everybody must have done it, and you have to download and configure Eclipse on your system, right? If you have a 64-bit machine, please note this, if you have a 64-bit machine, you will also have to download JDK. Go and say download JDK and install JDK from here. Otherwise Eclipse will not work. Eclipse is an editor for Java in which you can write the Java code. Like for C it used to be Turbo C. Okay. So Eclipse, this is Java SDK, JDK sorry. You can download JDK from here. JDK downloads. Okay. And you can install it just like any other software, it will just take 5 minutes. But after that what you need to do is you need to go to Google and download Eclipse. Fine. And you can download, go to Eclipse downloads and well, it's taking time. Okay. Anyway, it's not opening. Go ahead and download this one, Java IDE, Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers. Download this one. Okay. Once you have downloaded Eclipse, it will come into your system as a zip file. Extract the zip file, and you will get a folder like this, Eclipse. Okay, it's an editor which helps you to write the Java code. You open this. This is eclipse.exe. Eclipse is not installable. Always remember, Eclipse is not installable, it comes as a bundle. You just have to start eclipse.exe. When you start it, you will get this screen. Okay, and on this screen, this is the workspace path. Workspace means the path at which you will store all your Java code which you will be working. I will make the path like this. 26th May weekend. Okay, so for your batch I will store all the code under this location, and Eclipse will start up in some time. Okay, today I will not tell you about anything in regarding to Selenium. Okay, if you are into this class thinking that fine, I am going to directly start with Selenium, no, I will tell you about Selenium tomorrow. Okay, I will tell you about Selenium tomorrow, because basically this is the mistake which most people do. They directly start jumping on Selenium Webdriver or RC without knowing the concepts of Java, and then they think that okay fine, we don't have very good documentation on Selenium, we don't have very good information on Selenium, okay, on net, everything is very confusing. It's not like that. Documentation and information is there on net, but it's a little bit technical. If you go to downloads from out here, just go to Selenium website, and this is the Java sorry, this is the Java extent just a minute. This is the Java extension, and this is the Java doc. Java doc means Java doc means the documentation of Selenium, the Java documentation of Selenium, right? If you open this up, then you will get a documentation like this. For many people, this is very confusing, like what is this, they don't even know. They don't know this because they don't know the concept of Java, they don't know the concept of object oriented programming. Okay, so if you start in the right way, if we start in the course by learning the concepts of object oriented programming, then we will be easily able to read this Java documentation. And once you are able to read this Java documentation, you will be easily you will be very comfortable with Java language, sorry, with Selenium as well as Java language, right? This is the documentation of Selenium. Okay, but the thing is, it is little bit technical, it is little bit practical in nature. It's not like a piece of cake for everybody. Okay, so first of all, let's start with Java. I'll start with the concepts of object-oriented programming as well today. And if time permits, I'll also talk about Selenium, or I'll talk about Selenium tomorrow. Okay, now once you have started your Eclipse, okay, this will be the welcome screen. You can close the welcome screen from here and you will get this window. This is the project explorer. Okay, and right, okay, on the left hand side you will see the project explorer window. Out here we will be keeping all the projects which we will be making in this course. Okay, in the central part we do the coding, and in the bottom part we get the results. We will see that in some time how this happens. Let's create our first Java project. You can create a Java project by going to file menu, new, or you can right click, say new, other, expand Java, and just a minute, new project. Okay, go to new project, expand Java, and select Java project. Okay, say next, give your project a name. I'll give the project name as day 1 and finish. Okay, so in Eclipse you will get a project like this. Okay, this is the source folder. In this we will keep all our Java code. This is the JRE system library. This is actually the Java which was installed on your system. Okay, these are jar files from Java. Right? If you go to the properties of this project, you will see the path at which this project is lying. Under resources, you will see the path at which this project is lying. I am telling you this because these are very simple things. They make our life miserable if you don't know them. Okay. Sometimes people, they spend half an hour to search where this project is lying on my workspace. Okay. So now let's start with simple things. We'll go on to complex things as well. Right. If you open the path, then you'll see that under this path various files as well as folders are present. Among these files and folders, only the source folder is visible in Eclipse. Rest of them are not visible. We will talk about next rest of the files and folders as we go on with the course. For time being, just accept things as they are. Fine. Just remember that when you create a project, you get a source folder, and inside the source folder, you have to write all the code. Okay. Now, we'll have to create our first Java file. To create the first Java file, you will have to right click on the source folder, select new class. Okay, Java file is also referred as class. Okay, select it and name the file as suppose sample Java class. Okay, tick this. Make sure that this checkbox is ticked. Click on finish, and sample Java class.java will be generated out here on the left panel. In the middle section you will see some code and all generated. I'll just improve my font size so that you are able to look at it carefully. Okay. So I'm just concentrating on Java on this class so that later on you are able to, yeah, I think the size is okay. Fine. Right. Now, this is sample Java class and this is the main function. Okay. Look, the first line is public class sample Java class. The name of the class has to be same as the name of the Java file which is under the source folder. If you go to the physical location where this project is lying, under the source folder, you will have the class sample Java class.java. If you open this, this will have the same code which we are having over there. The name of the class should be same as the name of the file which we have in Eclipse. Fine. Now the thing is that Java program can also be written on a notepad. Fine, but when we are having such a good editor like Eclipse, which can help you to run the program very easily, then why should we use notepad? So it's better that you use Eclipse. Managing number of files becomes very easy. Okay. If I do any mistake, for example, the name of this file has to be named same as the name of the class. If I keep a capital X in front of it, Eclipse will immediately throw an error and tell me that I'm not supposed to do this. Right? If you move your mouse over the error, you will get the fixes. It's giving two fixes, that either name the Java file with the X word in the end of it, or rename this. Okay, I'll select the second option, rename type to sample Java class, and I'll fix this issue. So this is the importance of Eclipse. Similarly, there is a starting and an ending bracket for a class. All the code has to come up within the starting and the ending bracket. If I forget to give the ending bracket, immediately Eclipse will again throw an error. And if you move your mouse over the error, it will tell you that insert a closing bracket to complete the body. Okay. For some people, this class might be very simple. Okay. I have to do this because many people might not be knowing something. Right. So just be with me as I end up with the concept of object-oriented programming. Fine. I will be covering up Selenium, right? So just be with me. I'll be starting with oops in some time. Okay. Now this is the main function, right? I'll just give you some commands of Java. That is, for example, if you want to print something, the command is system.out.println, and in double quotes you can write hello world. Okay, and all the code has to be written inside the main function. Okay, main is a function in which the control comes up automatically when you run the program. So everything has to be written inside the main function. When you run your Java file, how do you run it? You select it and click on this button on the top. This will run your Java program. When you click on run, at the bottom under console you will see hello world written. Okay, hello world. Fine. So now system.out.println. The shortcut is you type SYSO, then hit control spacebar. Okay, that is you type SYSO plus control plus space. Okay, after typing SYSO, hit the combination of control spacebar, automatically system.out.println will come up. Right? Okay, now some of the words are red in color and all everything. Okay, just accept some things as they are. As we proceed with the course, you will understand what static is, what public is, what void is, about everything. Okay, now you can say that now every language has got data types. In Java also we have the same data types. Int is there, long is there, double is there, boolean is there, right? I'll just give you a small refresher regarding this as well. Okay, int and long, they are used to store integers. Okay, both of them are used to store integers. The difference is that between int and long is well, technically this is 32 bits, this is 64 bits. This means that when the number is stored inside the memory, it is stored in bits, right? 0, 1, 0, something like this. Okay, this int is allocated 32 bits and long is allocated double the bits as int, that is 64. Okay, the size of long is bigger than int. So if you are having some test data which having a number and that number is very big, put it in long data type. Okay, because at times int might not be able to, you can say, accommodate that number. Fine, but this cannot be used to store the decimal numbers. See, I get an error. Int and long cannot be used to store decimal numbers. Okay, so what we do is we use double. Double d equals to 302 point something, right? So double can be stored to use decimal numbers. Int and long can be stored to use. It can be used to store non-decimal numbers. Then there is something known as Boolean. Okay, this is very important. Boolean, I write x equals to true. Boolean can only hold true or false. Okay, Boolean as a data type, it can only hold true or false values. Okay, and what is the usage? If I write system.out.println 4 greater than 5 and I run the code, it prints false, right? It prints false. Why? Because actually 4 is not greater than 5. It prints the result, it prints the Boolean result. Okay? So the value of any condition is always in the Boolean type. If I write 4 greater than 75 and run this code, I get false. Or if I write 94 greater than 75, I'll get the output as true. So this forms the basis of if-else statements. In if-else statements, if I write if true, system.out.println yes, this will always be printed because the condition is true. You might be knowing this, many of you, but I'm just giving you a small refresher. If you run this, yes will be printed. So instead of true, you can give some number, any condition like 83 less than 192, 292. So this is true. So when you run this, yes gets printed. Okay, else system.out.println no. So similarly, I can put two numbers. I can take, suppose these are two numbers, A1 and A2. Right? I can compare them. That if A1 is greater than A2, print A1 is greater. Else print A2 is greater. Right? So this condition will evaluate to true and false. What is A1 having? A1 is having 100, A2 is having 102. So this is false. A1 is less than A2. So when you run this, it prints A2 is greatest. And if you want to print the value of A2 along with A2 is greatest, you can write like this, plus A2. Why am I writing like this? This is a string. This is known as a string type. I am concatenating an integer with a string. Okay, if I write A2 inside it, inside the string, it will be printed as it is. The value of A2 will not be printed. This is the mistake which many people do. If I have to print the value of A2, I have to move out A2 out of the string and print it like this, without double quotes. If I write without double quotes, the inner value of A2 is printed, that is 102. If you run this now, it prints A2 is greatest, which is 102. Right? Okay, so out of A1 and A2, A2 is greatest. Fine. Now, from this, okay, from basically this, the if-else statements they come up. right? And similarly, you have got loops like for loops, like while loops. Okay. Now I would request everybody to go to my site today and watch this video, because I don't want to repeat some stuff which is irrelevant, which everybody will find quite boring, like loops and all. Everybody knows the concepts of loops. Okay. Just watch training video 2. It's for 1 hour 13 minutes, but it will give you a very good insight on loops and all everything. Okay, I'll talk about arrays in this class, because arrays, I agree, arrays are little important as far as Selenium and frameworks are concerned, right? Why? Because the reason, okay, I'll tell you the reason. Let me show it to you practically. When working with Selenium, right, we use arrays. First, let me tell you what arrays are. So please go back. I'm making a new class called arraysexample.java, right? And I again repeat, when you go back, please watch this loop, these highlighted topics in this video. Okay, now about arrays. What are arrays? Array can be used to store multiple number of data, multiple, you can say data which is quite big. Okay, you can put it in an array, right? For example, I can declare an integer array like this: int array square bracket equals to new int square bracket 5. Now what does this line mean? This line means that in the memory, okay, in the memory an array like this will be formed. This is the memory location. It will be divided into various sections. There will be total 5 sections, because I specified the size 5 out here. Okay. Each section will be represented by an index like 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, and in each index you can store a number. Okay, you can store an integer in each index, right? So what you do is you store it like this: array in the 0th index. You can write I'm storing the number 100. In the first index, like this. Okay, so array arr equals to new int, and in array 0 we have got the number 100 stored. In array 1 we have the number 303 stored. In array 2 we have the number 394 stored. Okay, now basically we can keep on storing till array 4. So I have stored 5 numbers in this array. I cannot store more than 5. It's illegal. I will get an error while executing. Fine. If I have written 5 over here, I can just store 5 or less than 5 numbers in this array. Right? Now, if I write system.out.print and then array.length, it will give you the length of the array. that is 5. Right? Now, why am I talking about arrays? Why are arrays important? Okay, arrays are important because generally we keep our test data while testing inside arrays. We know the size of a test data. Every tester will know the size of his test data. Okay, I cannot just omit 5 from here. I will get an error. It's mandatory for me to give the size of the array. Okay, but there is like what kind of array we use and how do we use it. I'm going to talk about it now. There is a disadvantage of array as well. Okay, the disadvantage is that the size, right? I have to always mention the size. This is the first disadvantage. So suppose I have a practical scenario with me. Okay, I go to suppose any airlines website, okay, a website of any airlines, and I want to book a ticket between 2 stations, right? Now when I try to do that, okay, suppose I am on cathaypacific.com or britishairways.com and I want to book a flight between 2 stations. I search for the flight and I get 10 different flights. Okay, now I can pull out the names of all the flights and put them in an array. I can put them in a string array, suppose. String str. String means something which will be which can be in double quotes. Okay, string is always there in double quotes. It represents alphabets in English like this. You can make a string like this, like string course equals to Selenium course. You can have number of characters inside it. It's a group of characters. Right? So any index in English sentence and all, you can put this in a string. So out here we will make a string array containing 3 strings. Okay, but suppose the number of flights are 10 flights. I search for flights between 2 stations. I get 10 flights. So I, as an automation test engineer, I cannot go back and change this to 10 because tomorrow when again we will make a search, we might get 10 flights or we might get 20 flights. So we don't know the exact size of the data which is coming from the application, okay, or the result which is coming from the application. So we cannot use array in this scenario. Okay, we cannot use array in this scenario. We can't even think of using it because we don't know how many flights will we be getting tomorrow or day after tomorrow in the list of flights. Okay, this is the first disadvantage. Second disadvantage is that if I have a string array, I can only store strings inside it, like strings are having the country names. I cannot store numbers inside it, integers. It will give me an error. This is again a disadvantage because sometimes with the test data you might have a number as well. For example, your mobile number, your phone number, right? So an array, it can hold limited number of data with it and it can hold only one type of data. Okay, now I'll tell you about the workaround for it. Okay, but first let us see how to overcome the second drawback, that is it can only hold single type of data. To overcome that drawback, we make an array of an inbuilt class known as the object array. Object class. Object class is an inbuilt class in Java language. It is the superclass of all the classes we will see what superclasses and what exactly object classes when we study interfaces in project or when we'll be studying that inheritance. Okay, when we will study inheritance in object-oriented programming, we will have a clear picture of what object class is. For time being, accept it as it is that there is an object class in Java. This time being accepted like there is a string class. In object class, you can store anything. I can write object 0 equals to India, object at the first index, I can write a number, object at the second index, I can put a decimal number as well, at the third index, I can put true or false value, a boolean as well in it. Okay, so the first drawback of array was that size is fixed. Second drawback was that the type of data. I have eliminated the second drawback, that is the type of data. The type of the data in an array is variable. In the object array, only in the object array. Okay, if you are using object array, you can remove this this disadvantage of array. Right now, practically, okay, I'll come over to this point. Okay, in some time I'll come over to this point. Practically, when should we use arrays? In Selenium, we will be using arrays to store our test data, because generally we know the size of our test data. We will not use arrays to store the values which are coming from the application, because the values which are coming from the application can vary in number or they can vary in size. But the test data, as a tester, you always know what your test data is, so the size is generally fixed. Okay, now basically, to overcome this first drawback that the size is fixed, in Java we have something known as the collections API, which I have discussed in the video number 7. This one. No, sorry, in the video number 6. Okay, collections API. In this we have got something known as array list and all, which overcome the first drawback. Okay, we will not talk about array list as of now, but keep in mind that the we can have an array with variable size as well. Okay, we'll talk about it later on. Okay, now when we work with Selenium, practically we use a two-dimensional array. We don't use a single-dimensional array, we use a two-dimensional array. We use a two-dimensional array like this. Till now, I have taught you about a single-dimensional array in which we have got various sections. Right? Each section is having a index. Okay, each section will have an index. This is single dimensional array. But practically, we work with multi-dimensional array. That is two-dimensional array basically. Okay, which is having rows as well as columns. So rows will also have IDs or numbers associated with 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now what do we do practically with it? If I have a test case, okay, suppose I have a test case for registration. In this I am entering my email ID, password, username, address, and the zip code. So I have to repeat a test case multiple times with different sets of data. Okay, that is one test case has to be run with multiple sets of data. So we put the data corresponding to that test case in a two-dimensional, in a particular row of a two-dimensional array. The first row will have the data corresponding to the first run of the test. The second row will have the data corresponding to the second run of the test, and so on and so forth. So this way I can put in different email IDs and different passwords, and I can run the test case as many times as possible. How I will do practically, I will tell you, okay? But first understand the concept of arrays in Java. Java is very important. If you try to skip Java, it will not be a piece of cake. It will be very difficult, okay? If you know Java language, then Selenium is nothing. It is nothing if you know Java language. Alright, so the array, two-dimensional array, will have the data, every row will have the data corresponding to a single run of the test. Every cell will have an index. For example, this cell out here has the index second row, second column. This cell out here has the index first row, fourth column. So with the help of index, you actually identify the row number and the column number for your test. Okay, fine.